Zombie, you better get out of here. Steve. Claire Redfield and her brother Chris are back at it again. This time, we're not going to a mansion or a police station. This time, we're going to an island. This is Resident Evil Code Veronica. Don't go away. So to start, yes, this is another tank control game for Resident Evil. It's been through 0, 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica. That's a lot. But does it get stale? Hell no. As far as story-wise goes, with all the characters included and the main villain and the protagonists and whatnot, I think it's the best story a Resident Evil classic has told. The main reason for that? The villain. Alfred and Alexia Ashford are amazing. They are probably the most memorable part of the game for me.
I will handle them both myself.
Who is there? Is someone at the corridor?
What is it, Alexia?
Nothing. I believe I must have been imagining things.
Let us go, brother.
Having Claire and Chris as the playable characters, that's a thumbs up. Yeah, okay, you have side characters like Steve who are, but you also have villains in the show. But you also have villains in the game like Albert Wesker shows up. Yes, he's in here again. He's in like every Resident Evil game that you could think of, pretty much. He plays actually a huge role. And he gets burned at the end. He fights Chris, he fights Claire, he's all over the place. As far as actual gameplay goes, it's pretty cool. You're shooting zombies the majority of the time, but shooting them with some decently cool weapons. You have the bow gun, which, okay, yeah, extremely weak, but explosive bolts are powerful, and it's just kind of cool to use. Dual machine guns, AK-47s, that's right, Claire wields an AK-47. You have some of the best boss fights in the entire Resident Evil series for me, honestly. The boss fight in the fog, I forget its name, I'll just put it on the screen like right there. Ta-da! This fight is so cool because it completely changed up, not completely, but it changed up the way the formula works. Usually Resident Evil boss fights are either bullet sponges or they have a giant red weak point on the outside of their body, which is a complete flaw in their design. If, you know, I was a G-Virus developer or whatever. But this one's kind of cool because you're gifted a sniper and you can shoot in first-person mode. Already wacky enough. But it's really cool because it really ramps up the horde. You can see how, if there was like a younger child or and it's in the middle of the night and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this boss fight. It's so foggy, you can barely see. You only get 7 shots, okay? You only get 7 shots. You have to hit these. But you could barely see through the fog. It's honestly such a good boss fight. I love this music. How many bullets do I got left? 1? Negative. The main downside to the gameplay aspect of Code Veronica? Backtracking and confusing. Yeah, okay, backtracking isn't new in Resident Evil. Look at Resident Evil 1. You go through the same room 40, 50 times. The problem here is the backtracking is confusing. You have to go from the labs back to like the barracks, over to the palace, over to the other palace, back to the labs, back to the barracks. It's just, this is the second time I played through this game. I only played through it 2 years ago, and I knew what I was doing most of the time, but I still had to look up a couple parts where I was like, okay, where's this thing? I know it seems obvious to point this out, but it is because it is classic Resident Evil. But the music is really good. And maybe it might not be so obvious, because when I played the RE1 remake, there was a lot of rooms that didn't have a lot of music. But here, it's not just like, if rooms don't have music, which is very rare, it always has some sort of ambient sound to tie to that room uniquely. running through, when you're just on the outside of the palace, there's no music there, but you'll hear like bugs, you know, zapping or flying around the lamppost outside. I remember that so well for some odd reason that if that wasn't there, that whole area would seem completely dead to me. I'm gonna make a swing by my box, I think. Yeah, I might as well do it. The camera is changed. Wow. Now, given I haven't played Resident Evil 3 yet, I will get to it. I can't say for sure, but this is the first time I've played classic Resident Evil where the camera moves with Claire. It is sort of in the corners and changes up, but it is like a hybrid of fixed and over-the-shoulder camera angles. It's kind of cool. Now, being that I am on the presentation side of things, I have to talk about the voice acting, and according to my notes here, cringe AF.
This thing is a lot more reliable than any person.
Than people?
Okay, Resident Evil is not known for its amazing, you know, 10 out of 10 voice acting.
Claire?
Nice.
Where am I?
It worked!
Oh, shit.
But come on!
There's no way he could get here, even if he is your brother.
Yes, he can. I'm sure of it.
No way. He won't come. You'll just end up disappointed if you rely on others. Believe me, I know.
Enemy design, rather lackluster. Even the way they sound, the zombies are just, they're I don't know, they're there. They just got called, they phoned in the zombie design. You do have things like hunters, which are kind of cool, and they did switch it up a bit with poison hunters. They look like they're more, you know, like veined out. They're purpley a little bit, so they're kind of cool. They're what I call stretchies. There's guys who will just slap Claire's ass from across the room. What the? As far as where you're spending the majority of your time, there is actually a wide variety of settings here. You have Rockford Island, which Chris and Claire explore. I think it's a really good thing. You also go to, believe it or not what I'm about to say, you also go to the Antarctic to fight more zombies and weird moth creatures there. I've written down my notes here, side note on footsteps. It seems weird, but they're really good in this game. They're very loud and kind of in your ear. And it just kind of, every step is like a hammer home of like, you know, a core memory. It's like, when I went back to this game, I was like, oh, I'm so glad to hear those footsteps again, which is weird to say, but it's a thing that was added in that I like. So the main consensus on Resident Evil Code Veronica is that it's generally forgotten about. You know, oh, they did RE1 remake, 2 remake, 3 remake, Code Veronica remake, no. Rumors of RE4 remake, it's like they skipped over it. A lot of the fans say it's overrated, underrated. I say, personally, it's the most overrated, underrated Resident Evil title that I've played. I feel like it is overrated in the fact that it is very confusing and it shifts around a lot. It doesn't have really a main identity. But I also feel like it's underrated because it does shift around a lot. It doesn't stay in just one mansion for the entire game. So given what I just said, it makes sense why I usually consider it a very unique Resident Evil game. I don't believe it's my favorite for one major reason. You can get completely fucked over in this game. I've heard so many stories of people who got to the end and just couldn't beat it because of the fact that because you swap perspectives from Chris and Claire, you don't bring over the weapons that you had equipped. So for me personally, I had Claire having the grenade launcher and the AK-47. Chris had the shotgun, okay, the pistol and the bow. I couldn't beat the final boss. I tried for like 2 hours. Could not beat the final boss with those 3 weapons. So I was like, okay, load a previous save from like an hour and a half ago. Let Claire put all the good shit in there so I anticipate the final boss. Then when I swap back over to the final boss, finally an hour later, I could get the grenade launcher from the item box and then beat the game. That shouldn't be a thing in games. You shouldn't have to restart an old save just because you weren't a prophet and saw the future of where you needed with the guns to go. I mentioned him before. Wesker's in the game. Wesker still hates Chris. Hilarious.
Who are you?
Let's just say that I'm a ghost, coming back to haunt your dear brother.
Wesker?
I don't know what went on between you two, but you have him all wrong. My brother is not the kind of person you think he is.
I despise Chris.
What are you gonna do to him?
And honestly, it is kind of cool because I am such a huge fan of Resident Evil 5, mostly for the co-op. But I've played through that game so many times that seeing the rivalry date back to Code Veronica and them actually duking it out in the end was kind of cool to see. After you beat the game, you unlock battle mode. Yes, you unlock battle mode via beating the game, not via your credit card for $4.99 DLC. And battle mode is just kind of basic. I wish it had extra modes, like extra levels, I guess. You pretty much go from point A to point B, going through a bunch of rooms, clearing out the enemies, and once you get to the end, it bases you off your time and kills and stuff like that. You can unlock an outfit for Claire, which is kind of cool. You get to play Steve, Wesker, Chris, just basic stuff like that. It's not overly important or, you know, a bright spot, but it's way better than having no extra mode. Let's go. Let's go. Wow, even new background and everything. D. So for all the reasons I've listed, I rate the most overrated, underrated game of Resident Evil, in my opinion, a solid 8.6 out of 10. So that's it. Resident Evil Code Veronica, down. I still have to play Resident Evil 3. I'm waiting until I get probably a physical copy, or maybe I'll be able to emulate it in the future. But right now, the tracks are on course for the next Resident Evil game being Resident Evil 4, which I'm currently speedrunning and have a extremely huge... I have so much experience points in Resident Evil 4, it's stupid. I am going to be playing it on GameCube, the classic 2-disc game. So stay tuned for that, because I'm pretty hyped to go back to the original Resident Evil 4. But for now, I'm your host, Zero Planet Entertainment, and I've enjoyed this review. Peace out. I hope that last one hit. He faked it out, bro? Dude, this... I didn't know you could do that. What is up? I know what you're thinking. You're only here for the bonus Easter egg soundtrack I put in at the end of every video. But did you also know I have a donation page under Buy Me a Coffee? Donate whatever you want to my channel and I'll put half that back to an environmental charity. So that's that. Enjoy the music. Peace out.